All in Sports Network. We love sports.
All right, I have a question to start off, and I can tell which team you rooted for in this game based on how you answer this question. Which of these things did you dislike more? The Colts continuing to play when hope seemed lost, or the fact that J.J. Watt was broadcasting a game that his brother was in?
I think it's cool that you broadcast your brother's game, but that adds a sort of bias, and that should not be in announcing. So that was probably my least favorite. As a Colts fan, I like seeing them play to the final whistle. It looked a lot. The score looked a lot better than it actually was.
Yeah. Although at
Which
the
we'll
same
get into.
time, it probably could have been way worse at the same
100%.
regard. So
Yep.
there are two sides to both of this coin. We're going to discuss them. I'm Kevin. This is my son, Liam. We're the Unstable Blues. Happy to present All Indiana Sports as part of the All In Sports and Rogue Media Sports Networks.
Welcome back in. The Colts were not quite able to steal the game back in Pittsburgh. Is this a bump in the road or the beginning of the end for the horseshoe? Let's go all in.
Yes, you can follow us on TikTok and Instagram at All Indiana Sports and on Twitter at All Indy Sports. And don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. All right, we will get into that question that you asked later. We will not leave you hanging, but first let's go through the game.
Yes, it started encouraging with the Colts forcing a 3-and-out and Daniel Jones punching it into the end zone after 13 plays, including 3 key ones from Alec Pierce.
Yes, then another Steelers 3-and-out led to a baffling muffed punt by Josh Downs, but the Steelers failed to convert into points.
Yes, after another time-consuming drive, T.J. Watt poked the ball away from Daniel Jones.
That resulted in points, as did the interception 2 plays later for the
Colts could not respond, and the Steelers hit a field goal at the buzzer to bring the halftime score 17-7.
Yes, the third quarter was not really that eventful after a punt for each team and another interception for the Colts.
Steelers converted that into a touchdown, but the Colts kept trying with a field goal.
Yes, a 3-and-out for the Steelers led to a Colts fumble and another field goal for the Steelers.
The Colts finally got a touchdown working in the 2-minute framework.
Hope was stirring with a fortuitous Steelers fumble, but Daniel Jones threw his third pick shortly after.
A last defensive stand and late field goal left the Colts falling short as the Steelers put them to bed. Speaking of putting to bed, Joi Baby sleep sacks and matching crib sets can help you put your little one to sleep. Click the link in the description for more.
Yes, so there's a lot there, but we'll revisit it in a little bit. Let's take a look first at the stat sheet. Daniel Jones went 31 for 50. Yes, he had 50 attempts because of the nature of where the Colts were and how far that back they were and what they needed to do to get back. He had 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, a passer rating of like 63.
Yeah, and he had that fumble as well. Not
Yep.
that great. Jonathan Taylor had 45 yards on 14 carries, so
just didn't get the ball
day for him. Yeah,
just didn't get the ball. I mean, understandable with where things were at. Needed to pass the ball. Speaking of which, Alec Pierce and Michael Pittman Jr. both had exactly 115 yards. Pierce with 6 catches, Michael Pittman Jr. with 9. No big surprise on that one. Pierce's are a little bit deeper. Michael Pittman's are not. Both went for the exact same number, though. How creepy is that?
Mm-hmm. Josh Downs had the lone touchdown catch of the day.
Yes, Jermaine Pratt led the team in tackles again with 8.
And Latu had 2.5 sacks.
Man, like Aaron Rodgers is like, or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe Aaron Rodgers' kryptonite is Latu. That brings the total sacks that Latu has had in his career to 3.5 on Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's absolutely insane comes from proper training and technique. Speaking of which, Farmhounds can help you train your puppies with healthy treats. That's what we love at Country Mountain Dogs. You can click the link in the description for more on that. We will be getting to the question of where the Colts stand after this loss. But first of all, it goes deeper than just the stat sheet. What are your intangibles that left this game where it was and where it landed?
I have 3.
Okay.
The turnovers.
Yep.
That's got to be one of them.
There were 6 of them. One of those is the special teams, so I kind of throw that one away. And then there were a couple late ones that kind of put the game away as the Colts. So 6 turnovers sounds like just preposterous, but take some of them away there just because of where the game was at.
Yeah. But still, 6 turnovers is 6 turnovers.
Yep.
Another one, Jalen Jones just got flustered immediately by DK Metcalf, and it was done after that. He's a younger guy.
But DK Metcalf only had 2 catches for 6 yards.
Yeah, right. But DK was doing his job by getting in their head.
Yeah.
The tight ends ate us up. And then the last one was penalties. Too many penalties, whether it be, you just got a first down, and there's a false start. Or that big one with Jalen throwing the punch on the random Steelers player.
Yep.
Because DK is being DK. So there's just a lot of untimely stuff that went on.
Agreed. I will say this about the 6 turnovers. I agree with everything you said. It's what I mostly had. I have one additional one, but I'll just give you the other side of the coin. We mentioned there's 2 sides of the coin. 6 turnovers. The Steelers scored 24 points off of those turnovers. So congratulations to them for converting, but much of that was done on a short field. So the Steelers really, in essence, couldn't do a whole lot. Other than that, they scored 1 field goal that wasn't off of turnovers.
Yeah.
So self-inflicted by the Colts for sure. Take those turnovers away, what can we really see? Now, how much of that turnovers were based on what the Steelers were doing, based on what the Colts were not doing, I guess, kind of remains to be seen. This game was characterized by 2 teams who did not play the same way at all that they had played the previous however many, 7, 8 games, depending on, the Steelers already had their bye. The Steelers actually played defense, and the Colts turned the ball over. Those are 2 things, one on each side, that had not happened and very uncharacteristic of this season.
Yes.
So, like I said, 2 sides to that. I agree, Jalen Jones was physically ready, but he was not mentally ready to play that game. And then my last one, my different one, is Gonsalves looked absolutely lost in every single protection. It looked like he didn't know how to run block. He didn't know how to pass protect. It looked like Gonsalves was just an open door. I'm not sure if it was the stunts that were confusing or if it was literally the line protections that he was confused about. Bernard Ryman didn't look great either, but Gonsalves just stuck out like a sore thumb. And this may be the first game where we could really see as Colts fans and go, Will Fries is missed. All right. With all that, we will get to that question. But what is your Mayflower move of the game? The point of the game where you said, "Yep, that's kind of the turning point. That's the nail in the coffin."
Obviously the first muff punt turnover was rough. Then the fumble was rough, but I'm like, okay, the Steelers aren't doing anything on offense. The Colts can bounce back. It's fine. And I don't remember what it was. Even going into halftime, 17-7. Okay, it's fine. Colts got this. It'll be okay. Whatever the first turnover was, I don't remember exactly what it was. But whatever the first turnover was after halftime, that's whenever I was like, okay, their halftime adjustments did not work, and we're kind of sunk now. Because I believe at that point, that was the fourth turnover of the game.
I have the exact same turnover, the second interception, the third offensive turnover, the fourth turnover altogether, because we're including the muff punt. I don't understand how sometimes a blocked punt is not called a turnover and a muff punt is. I don't get it. I don't understand. But yeah, I agree. That to me was the moment. And what's funny is there was still hope. There were still moments where it could happen. But at that point, it became a very uphill climb at that point.
I agree.
So, with that, then we have the Underdog Star of the Game, brought to you by Underdog Fantasy Sports. Take a look at this from them. Football's back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. Download the app today. Sign up with promo code COLTS. To score $100 in bonus funds or bonus entries when you play your first $5, that's promo code COLTS. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make picks. Win money. Must be 18 and up, 19 and up in Alabama, Nebraska, 19 and up, and in Colorado for some games, 21 and up in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and must be present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369. Okay, so Underdog Fantasy Sports, you can pick a player and say they're going to score more touchdowns, less touchdowns. You can group that with another player from another game or the same game and win even more. But you don't need everything to hit to win. So the more you group, the more you can win, the more chances you have to win. But nothing went the way of the win in this one because, as I mentioned, these two teams didn't do anything that you would have expected them to do. So, who was your star of the game? Are you going Colts or Steelers on this one?
I don't think I can go Colts. If I was going to go Colts, it'd be either Pierce or Pittman. Probably Pittman just because he had more receptions.
Okay.
But I'm going to go with the Steelers player. I think it's got to be TJ Watt.
Okay.
Had the first offensive turnover for the Colts, or defensive, I guess. And he was applying pressure the entire time. Daniel Jones had to worry about him because the Colts offensive line could not stop him. And so in that way, I think that's why there were so many turnovers, is because that pressure was applied.
I totally understand. I am going to give it to a guy that I love this kind of thing. Okay. Don't love that I have to give it to a Steelers player, but love this kind of thing where you give it to a guy that you're like, who's that? Peyton Wilson. Peyton Wilson had the tip ball that led to an interception, had the first interception by himself where he stepped in front of it, had the tip ball that led to the Jack Sawyer interception off the edge. So Peyton Wilson he was everywhere causing mayhem. And you're like, on a defense like that, where it has so many big names, you're like, who's that guy? Well, he's the guy that stepped up. So you should, if you don't know him, you should know him. All right. So with all that said, we got to keep the goal in mind. Speaking of which, Open Goal has a great rebounder and goal set up for you. Click the link in the description for more. It's time to revisit the question that you posed from the top.
I did, yeah.
Is this a bump in the road, or is it the beginning of the end for the Colts? Because you could, again, look at this on two sides of the coin here.
Yes. In the Rams game after that loss, there was hope because the offense still produced very, very well, and there was one key problem that was Adonai Mitchell. right? Then that problem got fixed, and then the Colts got back on track. This game was tough because of 6 turnovers. I don't know what was going on, but the Colts just didn't look like the Colts. Or this season Colts. They looked like past or recent years Colts. And that's
there were a few. I mean, you got your quarterback throwing interceptions, making fumbles, and so there were definitely some 2022 Matt Ryan PTSD in my head.
yeah. They just didn't hand the ball off to JT. I understand that you're trying to pass to get back in the game, but beginning of the second half, you're only down by 10 points. You got to run the ball still.
Uh-huh.
That's why you have done so well, is because you have the best running back in the league. He's still the best. So you didn't run the ball. There's a lot of things just in this game in general that were very un-Colts like. Even like dealing with pressures and stuff like that. Daniel Jones had done a really good job of that. He just didn't today. And, props to the Steelers for getting those 6 turnovers and having such good of a defense. But the Steelers' offense was terrible.
Yeah.
It was almost as bad as the Colts, just minus the turnovers.
Yep.
If you take away the turnovers, or you even it creates them. It's a whole different. The Colts lost by 7 points.
Yeah.
If they would have recovered that onside kick, they have a shot at tying the game up or winning the game.
Right. If they capitalize on the turnover that they forced, that late fumble, instead of turning the ball right back over, it's an entirely different ball game.
Yeah, exactly. So the Steelers did not play well at all. I know all the big media, the Steelers forced 6 turnovers, but that's the only thing they're going to focus on. They forced 6 turnovers, yes, but their offense was horrendous. It barely kept them in the game. They got, as you said, a field goal that was not off of a turnover.
Yep.
That's the only thing they could do.
Yep.
The Colts had an off game. This is just a bump in the road. They're going to look. Quentin Nelson had a quote. I'm not allowed to say it because it's not very family friendly. But I think you know what I'm talking about. If you would like to go look it up, go ahead.
Well, it's the basic gist is
it's
you have games like this, you learn from it, and you move on.
Exactly.
Basically. Yeah.
Yeah. And so they're going to do exactly that. They're going to go play the most bipolar team in the league in Berlin next week. I look for the Colts to get not a pretty easy win, but pretty handily win. You got the bye week, and then you play the Chiefs. I look for the next 3 to 4 games to be, I wouldn't say pretty easy wins because nothing's pretty easy against the Chiefs. But other than those games, I look to be pretty easy wins for the Colts. Maybe another loss or 2 before the end of the season, but I don't see the Colts getting that much off track just because of this game. This is a bad game from the Colts and a bad game from the Steelers.
I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to go from the national media and then bring it home. Okay? Here we go.
Okay.
The Colts were finally exposed for who we all knew that they were. Because the only way they beat the Broncos was from a penalty that's never called on a field goal that's allowed them to have the walk-off field goal. They beat the terrible Dolphins. They lost and already got exposed on the road to the Rams. They went on the road and barely beat a Chargers team that we knew was hurting on their offensive line. And then they barely beat the Cardinals at home. And now we get to see exactly who the Colts are against a top defense and on the road in a hostile environment. Expect the Colts to crumble at this point and for Colts fans to find out who Daniel Jones really is and why the Giants didn't want him anymore, as the Colts really probably only will win one other game this season. That's what the national media will say.
Although,
yep,
Stephen A. is on the Colts side. I was watching a thing from him. He was talking about how minus the turnovers, Daniel Jones actually had a really good game, and talking about how the Colts actually managed pretty well considering everything. So
because they didn't just dribble the ball out at the end. They continued to work all the way to the end. Don't you want a coach that's going to coach all the way to the end? And credit to their special teams coach, especially for continuing to work it. And they had the Colts had that one penalty on the touchdown, I think it was, and that was like a taunting something that allowed them to then use the rules to their advantage, kick it out of bounds because it's a 45-yard penalty from the kickoff point, which was moved up. And so coaching all the way to the end, I love it. I love it. I don't mind it at all. Please don't dribble the ball out. Now, that's what the national media will tell you, but it is one game in a long season. Now, I cannot tell you that this won't happen again or this isn't actually the Colts. But what I can say, it was an off game, and there are, 8 more of them now to get back on track? 9 games done, 8 more to go. There are 8 more games to try to figure this out, and the Colts number, their magic number to win the division is at 7. Is that correct? They're 2 games up, right? On the Jaguars, I believe.
yes, on the Jaguars.
So their magic number is 7. They have to win at least 7 or some combination of winning 7 and advancing that for the 3 losses for the Jaguars.
7. One of them has to be against Jacksonville,
and they play the Jaguars twice still. So, and they play Houston twice. So, as far you could look at that again 2 different ways. You could say, "Wow, that's a lot more they got to do," but that's all in the Colts' hands. That's all in their grasp. They hold still the number 1 spot in the entire AFC. And number 2 is the Patriots. How crazy is that?
Yeah. Brings back memories.
No one at the beginning of the season said, "Hey, about halfway through the season, you know what? I think number 1 seed is going to be the Colts and the number 2 seed is going to be Patriots." No one said that. No one said that. And that is why we love this game. That's why this is so special, because of all of the things. And that is, once again, the 2 sides of the coin. The Colts could only win 1 game that they have left on their schedule if this is the Colts. And I think the real danger here is if people are able to pick up on this tape and exploit the things that the Colts were exposed in. That is the most concerning part moving forward from a Colts perspective.
Completely.
Because it's a copycat league, and so now you're going to think that they're exposed, and so, well, if we just do this, if we just run this stunt, if we just bring this pressure, then they're going to fold. And so the Colts have to use their bye week coming up after the Berlin to do some real hard self-scouting to get back on track and correct, especially the stuff that just happened in the Steelers game, to make sure that doesn't happen again. Obviously, you want to try to do that as quickly as possible, but with the travel, with the next game next week, not sure if that's really totally feasible until the bye week. So
agreed.
There you go. Different ways to look at it. 2 sides of the coin. We're just gonna call this episode Two-Face, flip a coin, and Harvey Dent this thing. But that's all that we have for today. We'll be back tomorrow with our Crimson Cutback look at IU football because they won. And then later this week, we'll have our Unstable Pick 6 NFL prediction episode. Keep the pace as we take our weekly look at Pacers basketball, who also got their first win. Yeah. And then we'll finish off with our preview of the, get this one, Fallen und Falcons in Berlin.
Okay. There you
That's my
go.
German there.
Yeah. Well, this is Liam
And this is Kevin.
reminding you to stay all Indiana.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.